I don't even know how to answer that. I mean, I guess everybody has their own opinion, but my opinion was, the first couple of rounds, he did what he was boxing good, but after the first couple of rounds, he got on this horse. He got on his bicycle and ran around the ring most of the time. I mean, everybody's seen that. If you didn't see it, you must have been blind, but the guy ran the whole time, moved the whole time.
Got it. And my last question for you is, a lot of people don't realize, I think this is your first fight back at Barclays since the first
It's 2014.
14. So was it the Bika fight, the first Bika fight?
Yep. Yeah.
And I thought that was one of your best performances. Even though you got the draw, I felt that you won that fight. You knocked him down. One thing, I was there at that fight, and I noticed you had a very strong contingent of your family there. Your brother was there rooting you on. So I'm wondering if you're going to have that same big environment with you at this fight.
I have over 100 people there. That's coming from Michigan.
Glad to hear it. Thank you, and best of luck.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Ismail. Our next question is going to come from Jim Conlon with RCB Radio Sport. Jim, if you could unmute yourself and you can ask your questions.
Hi, Anthony. In a recent interview, Anthony, you said coming into the Caleb fight, you said it's all about me. I want to know if I can still do it at this level. Is that an indication for you that if you're successful against Caleb?
I didn't say that. That's not what I said. I didn't say that. They must have got my words mixed up. I didn't say I wanted to see if I could still. If I didn't think I can do it, I wouldn't be here. I said I want to show them that I can still do it. I didn't say I wanted to show myself I can do it. I know I can do it, or I wouldn't be here. Okay. I want to show everybody else. I want to show you guys, which means everybody, that I can still do it.
And obviously, you're fully convinced that you're going to defeat Caleb Plant. And is the ambition then to really go on and maybe have another title shot? Is that the ambition for you, Anthony?
I'm worried about Caleb Plant right now. That's it.
Okay. Thanks, Anthony.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Jim. Our next question is going to come from Todd Back with Fight News. Todd, please unmute yourself if you can ask your question.
Yeah, thank you. Hey, it's good to see you there, Anthony. I know it's good to get back in the ring, see you showcase your skills. Now, when I heard this fight was announced, I was very excited, both you two being super middleweight champions. And then hearing you today talk about you really want to hurt him probably more than other opponents. You're focused on him. Can you elaborate on that? Is there anything behind that? What is there something that gets under your skin about Mr. Plant?
Nobody gets under my skin. I control my emotions. I control everything. I just want to.
You don't grind your gears or rub you wrong.
Nah, you can't let nobody irritate you or get you upset, man. If you're gonna get upset, it's because you're making yourself upset by thinking about it and talking about it. But I just want to get in there and mess them up. Like I said, I want to show everybody that I still got it.
So there was no particular reason why on this outing you really had a fire to put the hurting on a guy.
Nah.
Okay. And it sounds like the golf game. Do you actually golf when you're in camp, when you're not training, when you're off?
Yeah, all the time.
What's better, your long game or your short game? What you got?
Both of them is kind of equal. I think my short game is, medium short game is a little bit better than my driving for sure.
Oh, to me, that's the toughest part. Driving to me personally is the easiest part. But yeah. Hey, I appreciate your time. That's all I got for you today. But I guess one last question I will say, for all the bettors out there, for the people that are putting down money on you, the guys that want to score big, what round are you finishing this one in?
I don't know. We'll have to see.
All right, then we'll have to bet on all of them. All right, thank you. Appreciate you, Anthony.
All right, thank you, Todd. Our next question is going to come from Jake Donovan with Boxing Scene. Jake, please unmute yourself and you can ask your questions.
Great. Thank you, Andrew. Anthony, really appreciate your time. I wanted to ask, after your last fight, I believe it was during the post-fight press conference, where you said, if you can't get Canelo, or if you can't fight for something, then you're fighting for nothing. So obviously there's a logjam for everyone waiting for Canelo. Do you consider this fight fighting for something?
It's a fight. It's a fight that I want to beat somebody's ass in.
Okay, so I guess if you can elaborate a little more, with a win, with the expectation then be to either fight Benavidez or Canelo. I know you're fully focused on Caleb Plant, but obviously you want to win to get to another point.
I'm like I say, I'm focused right here on Caleb Plant. I can't think in the future right now.
Gotcha. And then I did want to ask, I know you've been going quite a long time between fights. Do you consider that advantageous, or has it just been a matter of the fights are only coming when they can be scheduled?
Yeah, just when they can be scheduled, the biggest fights, when they can be scheduled. But yeah, I would have liked to fight more for sure. But, you know, it is what it is. You know, you get what you get.
Gotcha. I just want to make sure it wasn't something strategic. I appreciate you clarifying that, and best of luck next weekend.
No problem. Thank you.
Got it.
All right. Thank you, Jake. As a reminder to press, if you have any questions, please hit that raise hand icon at the bottom of your screen. For now, I'll turn it back over to Ray for a couple more questions here with Anthony.
Anthony, looking at your career as a whole, I mean, you've been a two-time super middleweight champion of the world, but one thing about you is I know you're craving that third title reign. And the fact is that if you win this fight, you're in the driver's seat to challenge for the world title. So is it, you know, coming back because this is an eliminator fight, not just necessarily Caleb Plant? Because I feel like you would have taken this opportunity no matter who it was, because you win this fight, you're guaranteed a title shot per the fact that this is an eliminator fight. Is that, accurate?
I don't think necessarily I'm guaranteed a title. I mean, I think Benavidez is he fought for a title eliminator his last fight. He ain't getting a title shot. I mean, it just all depends on who you are, I guess, and what you got to offer. Because if I'm fighting for a title eliminator fight, what did Benavidez fight for? I mean, so I'm just going to this fight just to fight. I'm fighting.
So do you like the fact that it's like, okay, so I'm going to go back a little bit backwards in the sense that this is a high profile name. And I feel like with you at this stage of your career, that if it's not a high profile name, you don't have any interest in it because of what you've been able to do in your career.
That's true. That's true. I wanted a big name. I ain't gonna say the biggest, but a big name to for this fight. And like I say, I expect to come out victorious for sure. I expect to, do what I need to do to win this fight.
What did you take away from the press conference that we had, at the end of August? Things got rather tense between the two of you. I felt it because I was between the two of you. I'd hate to be the referee on October 15th, but what did you take away from that?
But he just didn't answer my questions. I answered his question. I gave, like he kept bringing up Uzataki and Canelo or whatnot, but I gave him credit for that. He did what he needed to do to win a fight, period. I'm not knocking that man on that, but he still couldn't name who else he fought after that or before that. I want to know somebody. And we ain't talking about no tomato can. We talking about real people. But he couldn't name it. He stopped talking after that. So I ain't taking nothing away from it.
And at 38 years of age, I mean, you've been around for a while and have really been at the top of the division for many, many years. But I mean, what is that? Is it the fact that, you're always, I've never seen you out of shape a day in my life. Certain guys like to go up and down and weight and everything else. And that's their prerogative. It works for them. But for you, even when we were doing commentary together years ago, I've never seen you out of shape in my life.
You got to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Especially with big thing like this coming. You gotta get ready for camp. I'm already ready. I'm ready to go. And like I said, I just stay ready. You got to stay doing something. You got to treat your body right so your body can treat you right. Period. Point blank. If you put bad stuff in your body, you're gonna get bad results. You put good stuff, you get good results.
I know you mentioned that you're going to have a lot of people in Brooklyn to support you. The one thing about you is that I feel like those around you, when they're, wearing your warm-up jackets and everything else, that motivates you, that you feed off the energy. Some guys like smaller, people or a smaller entourage, not an entourage, but, smaller group of friends. But I feel like you thrive on having a lot of people around you, and that makes you more comfortable and relaxed. And I'm sure you're going to have that next week during fight week.
Yeah, I definitely will. I have a lot of friends and family there for sure, root me on, and just getting ready. I'm not even focused on that. I'm focused on Caleb Plant. That's the only guy that's in front of me, trying to beat me. So I'm definitely focused on that.
I would be remiss if I didn't ask you this, in the sense that I know you mentioned, you're focused on Caleb only, but, assuming you get your hand raised next Saturday, October 15th, at Barclays Center in Brooklyn, the co-main event of FOX Sports PBC Pay-Per-View. But if you can't get like a fight with a Canelo, would a fight with a rematch with David Benavidez interest you, or is it kind of like you take it as you go along?
We'll see, Ray. I can't give you the answer right now, but we'll see.
What makes the relationship and the bond between you and Sugar Hill so special? Because I feel like you are one of the last true remaining guys that were a part of the famed Kronk boxing gym back in Detroit.
It's just we got a connection. We do stuff outside of boxing. We don't just train. We're golfing, and it's not even when we're in camp. When we're out of camp, we're golfing. We still talk to each other. Just having a relationship outside of boxing, man. It's I think that's important.
Hey, D, we appreciate the time. Final thing, what do you want to tell all the media and the fans out there as we get ready to embark on Fight Week next week in Brooklyn, Saturday, October 15th, you and Caleb Plant in a WBC super middleweight title eliminator?
I'm going to beat some ass on my birthday.
All right. Well, happy early birthday to you, Adu. We'll see you next week in Brooklyn.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Anthony, the dog, Dirrell joining us. And now we move from one side of the ring to the other, but from a virtual side, this man with a record of 21 wins, just one defeat. He is the former IBF super middleweight champion of the world. He will be colliding against Anthony Dirrell in Brooklyn at Barclays Center. He had 3 successful title defenses representing Ashland City, Tennessee, right outside of Nashville, now training and living in Las Vegas. He had a star-making performance by dethroning Jose Luis Uzcategui, coming to the ring after a valiant effort in a losing cause against Canelo Alvarez in an undisputed super middleweight title matchup last November. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the returning Caleb Plant. Caleb, how are you, man?
I'm good. Appreciate y'all having me.
Caleb, first of all, I want to ask you, I know you just released it on your social media. You got new fight swag and everything for Fight Week. I saw the new merchandise that's out, getting ready for Fight Week, and I know that fashion is something that you're very passionate about.
Yeah, we got some new merch we're putting out, different style, tees and hats and stuff like that. So I definitely encourage, everybody who wants some to, head to my website. Make sure you grab it before the fight. Make sure you can get swagged up before, the bell rings, so you can be in full support.
One thing about it, I have to congratulate you on your 3-year wedding anniversary. Your lovely wife, Jordan Plant, I mentioned that on social media today. The journey with you and your wife, because I've known you guys for a long time.
Yeah.
Literally, I remember when you guys first, became a couple and you were blossoming as a contender, but now where you're at this stage of your life and your career, what has that been like?
Yeah, it's been nice to have, a woman and a wife like Jordan who's been in such full support of my career. And, it makes it easy on me to when, I got to lock in and be fully committed to what I got to be committed to, keep this whole thing going and keep my dream alive that I've had, since a kid. So, I'm in a blessed position, to be an athlete with such a supportive wife and someone who understands boxing. I mean, she really knows the ins and outs of boxing. She's a student of the game as well. And she's around boxing so much, whether it be my sparring or training or right, in the trenches with me, that, she really knows what's going on. So, I'm in a good position.
You have a genuine love for the sport of boxing. You always have. I mean, I'm looking right now at your background, and you live in an amazing place. But one thing about you is I feel like your hunger has never gone anywhere. I almost feel like you're hungrier now than what you were when you were a contender. And now you get all this wealth, and you got, I know you love your lowriders and you love your vintage car collection, got a beautiful family. But where does that hunger come from, Caleb?
I think just keeping the priorities the priority, and that, for me, boxing has never been about to be like, the most famous, or so that I could have a big house or nice cars or stuff like that. Obviously, I have those things and I wanted those things, but that was never the main goal. The main goal was to be, one of the greatest of all time, or one of the greatest of my era, or, the goal is to be both. And regardless of what I obtain, regardless of what I have, I still keep the mentality of repping the have-nots. And, I've never lost touch of that. So I keep what's important, and that's, to become and retire as one of the greatest of all time and one of the greatest of this era. And you can't do that by getting caught up in, a house or a car or a watch. At the end of the day, those things are nice to have, but that's not really what's important. And so, I've been blessed to keep that mentality, and people around me, a good, raising by my father to, just keep what's important. And at the end of the day, those things could never trump, greatness. So
my final question to you before I turn it over to the media is, it's clear that Anthony Dirrell doesn't like you. For you, with this particular opponent, is it just business, or is it to where there's a little extra something that you want to prove to him, or you want to do to him on October 15th at Barclays Center in Brooklyn?
I mean, he can feel how he wants. That he's not going to do anything on fight night about it. He's the dog, but he sells a lot of wolf tickets. He wolfs a whole lot. He did the same thing with Badu Jack, especially at their weigh-in, when he was trying to run down on him and then talking about he was going to beat him up at the weigh-in. He done the same thing with Yildirim. He does it to everybody, where he wolfs a whole lot because he's a puppy dog, but then he don't really follow through. So I think he's just trying to hype himself up and sell wolf tickets. But come fight night, I'm gonna put a vicious ass whooping on him, and that's not to make to sell tickets or to sound good. I'm gonna teach him a life lesson.
All right. With that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Andrew Roberts, one of the members of our fine PR staff. I know the media has questions for the former IBF super middleweight champion of the world, Caleb Plant. By all means, when we call upon you, unmute yourself and ask your questions to Caleb Plant. Andrew?
Thanks, Ray. Our first question is going to come from Lo Hanshaw with Behind the Gloves. Lo, please unmute yourself and you can ask the question.
Hi, Caleb. First, I want to say congratulations to you and Jordan on the birth of your baby. I also wanted to ask you, what valuable lessons did you take away from your fight with Canelo that you're going to carry into the ring on October 15th?
Well, I think the biggest thing that I can take is just the experience in general. The experience isn't something that you can buy. You got to go through it to get it. And, I did that, and I did that with a lot of success against Canelo. Obviously I came up short, and there's no excuses there. I got with my team shortly after, and, we got right back in the gym and started working on things. And so just the experience, I've headlined Fox shows. I'm not headlining this one, but I've headlined other Fox shows. So the media obligations, I never felt like I was out of my depth with the media that we had to do, or even the fight, I felt like I handled the crowd well, but just being able to take that experience with me into these other big fights moving forward, that's priceless. So.
Yeah, and do you feel like this fight will go the distance, or are you pretty confident that you are going to stop it before the final bell?
I'm just going in there focused, and, we have a game plan, and, we're going to get the job done in fashion. And whether that's stopping him, whether that's, just putting a vicious ass whooping on him for 12 rounds, whatever it may be, we got a game plan. We're going to stick to it. And regardless, I'm going to be getting my hand raised in fashion. So.
All right. Thank you, Caleb.
you have questions from the media, by all means, raise your hand and then go ahead and we will call upon you. Back to you, Andrew.
Sorry about that. Yeah, apologies. James, you have the floor.
Gotcha. Thank you, Andrew. For Caleb, you said that you feel like you're living rent-free in his head and that he has a top quality opponent in front of him and someone that he can't mess with. Is like the back and forth between you and Anthony kind of like a grudge match, as you said, like you said, you want to whip him, and on his side, he said that he wants to, blank you up. So how does that tension between you and Anthony Dirrell, like how you feel about that?
I mean, I really don't feel no type of way about it. So again, like I said, he can say what he wants to say. And, I'm not sure if you heard me, say this shortly ago, but he sells a lot of wolf tickets and he barks a whole lot, but his bite ain't near what his bark is. And, his whole team, the same dude been barking on right beside him for the last, 7 years, and he's never had one successful title defense. So, in his last fight, he knocked out Andrew Hernandez, but Andrew Hernandez is a blown up middleweight who was getting stopped at 154 pounds. So if you're getting stopped at 154 pounds, you know what I'm saying? He's not we're not even in the same galaxy with the guy that he knocked out. Before that, he had a draw with Chiron, who's a good fighter, but he fights at middleweight. Before that, he had a fight with Yildirim, and really, people thought Yildirim won the fight. He winds up getting the fight with Canelo, becoming the mandatory before Dirrell, but Dirrell won the fight. So how does that make sense? Because Yildirim, he should have got his hand raised. So before that, he's getting beat up by Davidson. The list goes on and on. He barks a lot like he's going to beat me up or knock me out. But when's the last time he beat a super middleweight? So, I mean.
Gotcha. I feel you there. Like going into your training camp, like how comfortable have you been over the course of this particular training camp, coming back off of, just being, having a break for a good little while?
Well, again, there's been a break with me being in the ring and fighting, but shortly after the Canelo fight, we got right back to work, and I've been having a lot of fun in the gym. It's been some of the most fun I've had. This has been but this has been the best quality of sparring that I've ever had in the camp, and the most success that I've had in sparring in the camp. I've sparred a lot of, top people. I've sparred Carlos Adames. I sparred Shane Mosley Jr. I've sparred Amari Jones, who's a middleweight he's with Devon's camp. Who else? Chiron Davis. I've sparred Chiron Davis. Other great fighters too. So, there's been a lot of top quality sparring, and the gym has been fun. Having Bradman on the team with Stephen Edwards, along with my dad, has been great chemistry, real relaxed, easy going, but, we've been getting after it.
One more, like, how has it been having Bradman in your corner for this camp?
It's been great. Great chemistry, easygoing guy, like I said, but when, we get in the gym, we get to work, it's no bullshit. And that's how me and my dad like to operate. Once we get in the gym, it's time to go to work. It's time to put the hard hat on. So we've been having a lot of fun and great chemistry between him and my dad. And we've been getting after it. We've been whooping a lot of ass.
All right, great. Thank you, James. Our next question is going to come from Ishmael Abdul-Salam with Beatbox Mayhem. Ishmael, if you want to mute yourself, you can ask your question.
Thank you, Andrew. Caleb, you mentioned that now that you've gotten that blessing of getting that super fight, getting the financial blessing that comes with it, that you're really focused on making sure that this second half of your career that you go down is not just the top middleweight, maybe one of the greatest super middleweights of all time. What fights do you think you need to get to ensure that you get that Hall of Fame career that you're looking to get?
Okay, yeah, and just so I can clarify, even the first half of my career, or the beginning of my career, since I was a kid, it's never been about being famous or the money. It's been about the legacy and knowing that if I make the right moves in the ring, that everything else will come with it. So I don't need to focus on money or being famous or being, this or that. So that's been my mentality since the beginning of my career, since I was a kid, along with my father, and I continue to finish out my career the same way. But the fights, first things first, that's just handling, getting to your question, first thing first is just handling business on October 15th. He is a former two-time world champion, so just handling this fight, winning in fashion, getting my hand raised. That's the first step to, moving on to bigger and better and, cement my legacy as one of the greatest super middleweights of this era. So.
And my last question for you would be, we had Anthony earlier and we were asking him, like, what is the issue that he has with you? He really couldn't name it. He just said that he wanted to really put a hurting on you. From your perspective, do you think it's just simply jealousy? The fact that you mentioned just now that he wanted that Canelo fight, hasn't gotten it, you've gotten that super fight already. Do you think it just stems from professional jealousy as far as how far you've gotten in your career already compared to where he is as an older fighter?
Absolutely. I mean, don't say that you're not emotional and then say that you hate me. You know what I'm saying? Or don't say that I'm a nothing or a nobody and then in the same sentence say that you hate me. Because if you hate me, I'm a something and I'm a somebody to you. And, if I was, like he claims, a nothing and a nobody to him, he wouldn't even pay me no mind. I'd be like one of the fighters that he fought coming up. He wouldn't like me, but he wouldn't have much to say about me. He'd just whoop my ass and just, keep on moving about, his career. But that's not what I am to him. And I definitely think it stems from a lot of jealousy. I only have 22 fights, but, I've accomplished a lot in boxing. I've been, PBC prospect. And even though who cares about that, I'm just saying that's another, feather in my hat. I've fought Jose Uzcategui, who beat up his brother and not stopped his brother twice, with only 16 fights, 17 fights as an underdog and, did what I did against him to become a world champion. I've been someone who's actually had world title defenses multiple times, something he's never done. I put myself in position to fight Canelo. And you can say it's just at the right time. Well, when is it ever the wrong time to become a world champion and have a successful title defense? So I put myself in position by being a guy and winning a world title against someone I was an underdog against supposed to get knocked out. So how many guys do that in this era? So I definitely think, there's a lot of jealousy there, but hey, he can be mad, he can hate me, he can feel however he wants. He's not a bully. He likes to act like a bully. Like I said, he sells a lot of wolf tickets. He's not a bully. I don't care where he's from. I don't give a fuck about where he's from or what he says or him and his team barking. They've been doing that for the last 7 years, and they're still not where they want to be. So don't know that mean nothing to me, really.
All right, thank you, Ishmael. Our next question is going to come from Jim Conlon with RCB Radio Sport. Jim, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hi, Caleb. Caleb, coming into this fight, you've spoken about your desire for some time in the future to go up against Canelo again, and you've spoken about if you have to go past Charlo or Benavidez to do it. While Anthony Dirrell has said he's only solely focused on you. Do you sort of feel that you have any respect for Anthony Dirrell, that you might be sort of looking past him already?
No, absolutely not. And that's why I keep saying I got to focus on the task at hand. Some of you guys who interview me, you ask me what I want to do next or if I want to rematch with Canelo. And instead of just giving you a one-word answer, yeah, I'm telling you how I would probably have to go about it to get there. But right now, I'm fully focused on the fight in front of me. I'm not overlooking anybody. I've never done that. Just because I know I'm going to beat them doesn't mean that I'm looking past them. And so, I'm not sure if you've been able to hear the other questions, but I'm solely focused on this fight. And, I have long-term goals and I have short-term goals, but the only thing that, the only way you get to your long-term goals is by accomplishing your short-term. And right now, I'm fully focused on October 15th.
And finally, for me, Caleb, obviously you're much the younger fighter. You're only mid-20s, early 30s. You have a good career ahead of you. Anthony, really, it could be his last chance to get in the big picture. There is a possibility that a victory for you over Anthony Dirrell could finish his career this weekend. Yeah, I mean,
he's retired after this. He's done. I'm going to put a vicious ass whooping on him in such a way that he knows that I don't want to be a part of this no more. There's no way. This is it for him. He's retired after this. He's done. So that's my answer.
All right. Thank you, Jim. As a reminder to any of the media that have questions for Caleb, please hit that raise hand icon at the bottom of your screen there. Our next question is going to come from Todd Back. Todd, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hey, Caleb. How's it going today? It's a pleasure speaking with you.
What's going on?
Hey, man. So it looks like the sports books and the better, all the masters of boxing have you as a massive, heavy favorite in this fight. I mean, we're talking almost into the Mayweather type of favorite numbers, big money to win a little money. So oddsmakers are really respecting your skill and your resume. And you had just mentioned about Dirrell, how you've done this, but Dirrell hasn't and whatnot. But being that he is a former champion and whatnot, where does a win against Dirrell stack up against other opponents on your resume? I mean, would you feel like this is a quality win that's worthy of a feather in the hat?
I feel like this would probably be like my third. I put him behind Canelo, obviously, and then I put him behind Jose Uzcategui as well. Jose Uzcategui would have whooped him, probably stopped him. So I put him behind those two guys. But as far as importance, I mean, this is probably the most important fight of my life. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, you know, getting a win over a former two-time world champion is going to put me right back. You know, I wanted the biggest fight possible coming off of a loss, which doesn't mean the biggest fight that there is, but just the biggest fight possible. And the biggest fight possible was a former two-time world champion. So I'm going to handle my business on October 15th, and then we'll look forward to make bigger and better fights. But right now, I just need to focus on what's in front of me. I got a big task in front of me, and I plan on, you know, getting my hand raised in fashion in New York. So.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much, Todd. And thank you to all the media that joined us today. That's a wrap on the press questions. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Ray Flores to wrap things up for us.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Greatly appreciate it. And Caleb, we appreciate you taking out the time. But Caleb, this is the most, in knowing your career that I have seen you in terms of being so definitive on a particular outcome of a fight. Why is that so? Is it because you just really want to come in and make a statement to the rest of the boxing world or to Anthony Dirrell, or is it a combination of both?
It's a combination of both, you know, just solidifying myself as, you know, a top super middleweight, putting myself back in contention for, you know, whatever's next, and just showing him that there's nothing he can do. You know, his skills don't match up against my skills. He can't box with me. He doesn't have better footwork than me. He doesn't have faster feet than me. He doesn't have better combinations or faster hands than me. His defense, you name it, you can go down through the list. He's not better than me. And, you know, again, one of the gentlemen said, you know, he keeps saying he hates you, but we keep asking him why, and he can't really name no reason why. He don't want to name it because he don't want to, you know, admit to the fact that he knows I'm better than him, and it's got him uptight, it's got him frustrated. And, you know, why else would he hate me so much? Because like I've said, you know, multiple other times, he don't even know me, so.
Well, Caleb, we appreciate the time. Finally, what do you want to tell the media and the fans out there as they get ready? In 10 days from now, you'll be stepping inside the ring at Barclays Center for the first time as you take on Anthony Dirrell in your WBC Super Middleweight title eliminator on FOX Sports PBC Pay-Per-View.
Just to tune in, October 15th, FOX Pay-Per-View. You know, it's going to be a great night of boxing with me. Deontay Wilder obviously is the main event. Happy to see Wilder back in the mix. Country boy down from Alabama, so I'm happy to see him back in the mix. Got Gary Antonio Russell on the card. It's going to be a great night of fights, a great night of boxing, and there's going to be a show, so don't miss out.
All right, Caleb, greatly appreciate it. Again, happy anniversary to you and your lovely wife. We'll see you next week in Brooklyn.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Caleb Plant joining us. Thank you so much to the media. We'll see you next week in Brooklyn during Fight Week. Have a great rest of your afternoon, everybody.
Record.